Flash Comics #1, the first appearance of Golden Age Flash. This is a conserved 2.0 of the first Prince of Flash, an extremely rare book. The fair market for a Blue Label 2.0 is $60,000. This is the only conserved graded copy. That's because conserved is a very new label, hasn't been around very long. Conserved graded books seem to be treated by collectors the same as restored. I think these books should be worth a lot more. Restored can go for, on Golden Age books, maybe a quarter, a third of what the Blue Label price is, maybe even less than that. And conserved is selling, from what I've seen, about the same. Here we go, $22,500, and it closes at It's time for night 2 of the ComicLink Winter Featured Auction closings. Yesterday we had night 1 where we saw all the books from Action Comics to Detective Comics closing. Now we're in night 2. We're going to go Fantastic Four to Pep Comics. So I'm coming in a few minutes late. Going to do some catch up. We got Fantastic Four #1, which closed a few minutes ago. I can't see anything because I need these. There we go. Okay, Fantastic Four #1 closed 7 minutes ago. The bidding was at $20,567. Fair market on that book is $26,000. Did this pretty nice, although fairly tanned copy of Fantastic Four #1, 6.0 off-white pages, hit the $26,000 fair market. No, it did not, $23,559. So that's a 9 or 10% drop off fair market, but nothing to be ashamed of. Got my copy right here. Nowhere near 6.0. I've been watching that one drop now since before the movie came out. It's obviously an important book. It always will be, but collectors are just not excited about it right now. Now is a great time to pick up the first Silver Age Marvel book, the first superhero book in the Marvel Universe, not counting the Golden Age. The first Stan, Jack, and Steve. Oh God, I'm running out of ways to qualify this. It's Fantastic Four #1. Then we got Fantastic Four #3. I had created a little controversy for myself when I did the previews because the fair market value for Fantastic Four #1 at 6.0 and the fair market value for issue 3 at 9.2 are the same, $26,000. So if we all just bid what the fair market said, which we know we don't, these two should go for the same amount. Doesn't look like that happened. The bidding in the minutes prior to closing was $16,500. Let's see what it closed for. $22,152. So very close to that Fantastic Four 1 at 6.0, but less. That's about 15% roughly below fair market for a beautiful copy of the book. And I'd made the argument in the previews. Obviously, Fantastic Four 1 is the iconic cover. It's the one everyone knows with the Mole Man monster bursting out of the ground. But issue 3 is the first issue where they had costumes, where they were the Fantastic Four. If you look at 1 and 2, they're just wearing street clothes. I think Reed Richards has a suit on in the second issue. The Thing is just, well, he's always just wearing blue underpants. Human Torch. Okay, so really it's like Reed and Sue who have the costumes when they're in their superhero forms. But also, you got the Fantastic Car. Who doesn't love the Fantastic Car? A lot of people didn't love the Fantastic Car. When they debuted it in issue 3, they got all this mail. In those days, it was just mail, no email, mail, complaining that the Fantastic Car was a flying bathtub. A little underwhelming, yes, I suppose, when you're in the space age 60s looking at rocket ships. And what do they come up with? They come up with a bathtub. So they fixed it. In issue 12, when they faced the Incredible Hulk, they made a more souped up Fantastic Car. But I still kind of love the design of this original one. 10 years ago and change, it sold for $19,000. Hasn't been a sale in 10 years, and it really hasn't moved much. So this is not an investment. I think the future for this particular book, no reason to think it's going to go up. But if you love the Fantastic Four, and if you love Jack Kirby's art, this is one of Jack Kirby's best Fantastic Four covers, in my opinion. Fantastic Four #5. I'm kind of dreading this. I got my 5.0 right here, which I bought a little over a year ago. And we've got a 6.0 up at auction. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to say right now, it's doing pretty well, 10,769. So that's already above where I thought it might end up. The fair market on this is $11,000. It's right there. Closed 11 minutes ago. Did it go up from 10,769? Yes, it did, to just a little bit above fair market, 11,554. That's respectable. It's healthy. So prices are not dropping on the Dr. Doom key, at least. They should be going up. For God's sake, they should be going up. Dr. Doom's going to have quite a year in 2026. Good job, whoever picked this up for 11,554, even though it is a little bit above fair market. Let's look at past 6.0 sales. We got a 12,999 4 days ago on eBay, fixed price. So somebody bought this book for $1,400 more on eBay. It looks like it's an off-white to white pages, and this is an off-white to white pages. So virtually an identical copy, but this one went for considerably less. So let that be a lesson to you. If you're buying high-end books, go to the auctions. Don't go on eBay fixed price. Yes, you can often make them an offer and get them for way less than asking, but the auctions are a more buyer-friendly environment for bidding on high-end comics, I find. We got a number of other high-end books. I'm going to stop at this one because I have a copy very similar to this one, Fantastic Four 13 and 8.5. I got my 9.0 right here, which is generously graded, to be honest. It's the cover's pretty faded. I wouldn't call it tan so much, it's just dark. So this cover, even though the spine is a little wonky, this appeals to me a bit more than the one I've got. 8.5 off-white to white pages. Ooh! Oh, man! Bidding was at $1,777. That is low. I know what the prices on issue 13 should be because I bought one not too long ago. Oh, there's a big jump. Okay, 9.0 is double the fair market of 8.5. Even for that fair market, $2,800. Oh, $1,877. That's more than a 30% drop in fair market for the first appearance of the Watcher. Tragically, he does not appear on the cover. He's just mentioned. Jumping ahead to issue 25. This is a 9.4 of the issue where Hulk battles the Thing. Great cover. 9.4 off-white to white pages. Fair market on this is $6,000, which seems low. And yes, indeed, we were bidding just under in the minutes before, and it closed for $7,900. 31% above fair market. Fantastic 429, just take an X-Acto knife, cut Uatu out of this cover, slap him on issue 13, you'd have a much better cover. It started on Yancey Street. I really like this cover. It's not a key, it's not a first appearance, it's just a very nice composition from Jack Kirby. I picked this up at a local comic shop a couple weeks ago for like 30 bucks. In mid-grade. These 9.4s, 9.6s are fun to watch close, but I'm totally happy with my wall of mid-grade books. Fair market on this 9.4 is $5,250. Closes at $2,300. Wow. Less than half of fair market for this book. Okay, so that fair market was really high because of a Comic Connect sale 2 years ago in anticipation of the movie release. That was very high, and it was silly high. We can see from all these other prices, this was an anomalously high price that led to a very high fair market that shouldn't have been that high. Then we've got issue 39. It's a Dr. Doom cover. It's not a particularly standout story, but it is a standout cover. To be perfectly honest, I anticipated that this year would see a lot of Dr. Doom speculation, but I'm just not seeing it in these auctions. I'm not seeing people get excited about this. They're excited about Absolute Batman and Dork, apparently. That's what people are specking on right now, and for God's sake, let them have it. Let them run up prices for silly reasons on things. I just thought it would be happening on Dr. Doom. I thought Dr. Doom was going to be where the party was for the comic hobby in 2026, and it's just not. 9.6, fair market is $5,250. Bidding was at $4,100, and it closed at $4,710. About 10% and change down from expectations. And then we get to FF48 in 9.6 white pages. So if an FF48 is going to sell for a lot, it should be this one, although I say that and then I remember there are 46 9.8 copies, so there's no shortage of this book. This is not rare. There are 103 in 9.6. The fair market's 24,000. It has been dropping precipitously in the last year or two. This is, I believe, the single book in all of comicdom that has dropped most sharply in the last year or two. Maybe in dollar amount, not so much percentages. You see at the low end, you see the modern spec books going whoosh. This was 3 years ago, $56,000. Last sale was at $22,000. It has dropped off a cliff. I don't think we're going to see that price on ComicLink, and it didn't move, 17,000. So FF48 continues dropping with all these online price guides where you can see population. And of course, with the CGC census publicly available, we can all see when a book is high population. And FF48, as great as it is a high population book. FF49, not a high population book. Very different. And this is a pedigree copy. Boston pedigree, 9.2, fair market of 6,500, but this is a pedigree, so it should go for more than 6,500. Bidding was at 5,388. I think it's going to go up when I click update. It did. 6,325. That brings us just shy of fair market, which for a pedigree copy has to be a disappointment. We got issue 50 at 9.6, off white to white. 14,305 is the bidding. Fair market's 19,000. 17,000 is the closing. A little above 10% drop, which we've been seeing on a lot of these with a few exceptions. We saw FF25 go over. We saw FF5 go a little bit over. Some of these FF books are starting to creep back up, but most of them are still dropping. We're done with Fantastic Four and into Flash Comics #1, the first appearance of Golden Age Flash. What was that guy's name? It's not Barry Allen. Somebody just shout to me the name of Golden Age Flash. Jay Garrick, thank you. Jay Garrick is Golden Age Flash. This is a conserved 2.0 of the first Prince of Flash, an extremely rare book. I'm going to pull it up here. We've only got 45 seconds, but I'm going to pull it up. The fair market for a Blue Label 2.0 is $60,000. There are 99 total graded. This is the only conserved graded copy. That's because conserved is a very new label, hasn't been around very long. Conserved graded books seem to be treated by collectors the same as restored. I think these books should be worth a lot more. Restored can go for, on Golden Age books, maybe a quarter, a third of what the Blue Label price is, maybe even less than that. And conserved is selling, from what I've seen, about the same. Blue Label value of this book is $60,000. What do we got here? Conservation includes leaf casting to cover and interior, cover cleaned, panel missing from page 9, 9th wrap married. Okay, I didn't realize that. That's a little confusing to me based on my understanding of conservation, that they've got a married wrap in here. That means that somebody took a double page out of another copy of Flash Comics #2, a presumably worse copy, and inserted it into this copy. So two books have been merged together. When you do that, someone correct me here, that's a qualified book. That gets a green label. It says right here, this has been done, and it got a conserved grade. So maybe somebody knows somebody at CGC. I don't know. They're bending the rules. As far as I know, I could grab my CGC book off the shelf and maybe it'll explain to me why no married pages can get a conserved grade. But I thought if you marry pages, you sort of caught red-handed. You're going to get a restored or a qualified label, not a conserved. This is the first appearance of not just the Flash, but also Hawkman. Aha, I got confused. More Fun Comics is not the first appearance of Aquaman and Hawkman. It's the first appearance of Aquaman and Green Arrow. Flash Comics is the first appearance of Flash and Hawkman. Here we go, 22,500, and it closes at 33,013. Okay, there we go. So we're seeing, in this case, a conserved book going for more than half of what the Blue Label value would be. I think you can make a case for that. Okay, we got a Donald Duck book. It's the only Dell Disney book that I've seen in this auction. Donald Duck and the Golden Helmet. Great story. 9.4 copy off white to white pages. These don't go for much. There's not a lot of people out there collecting them, but I'm a fan. 1,232. We're 2 minutes 35 seconds out from 3 giant size X-Men closings. We got a 9.8, a 9.4, and a 9.2. I call it the Big Mac Index that economists use for assessing buying power of different currencies. It's sort of like that. This book goes up and down. It fluctuates a lot, but you can tell from this particular book whether buyers are buying or not. And we've seen this drop extremely sharply in the last few months. I recall just a few of these auctions ago, either 6 months ago or 3 months ago. I think it was 6 months ago when the fair market was up at $37,000 from an all-time high 4.5 years ago of $72,000. And it is right now at $21,000. So this book has plummeted in a way that reflects what's happened in the high-end comic market overall. Maybe a little bit harsher for this particular book than what's happened to prices overall, but it's dropping. A 9.8 copy of Giant Size X-Men 1, while there are 278 in existence, this is still the first appearance of the new X-Men. It's a book that I think has evergreen desirability. People are always going to be interested in this book. So it's $21,000 right now. The fair market on this, with 24 seconds left before closing, is $19,500. So it looks good right now for this book hitting or surpassing fair market. We'll do one last update. No movement yet. If it doesn't move up at all, it's still maybe an 8% or so drop from fair market, which isn't too bad. There we go. $20,500, so just $500 below fair market. I do believe we are leveling off. I think the curve is flattening on this book. Maybe it will continue to drop. This is a 9.8 white pages. There is the 9.9, which sold for $170,000 a year or two ago. But aside from that one copy of the book, which is, I'm not going to get into the legitimacy of its 9.9 grade here and now, but let's just put it aside. This is pretty much as good as it gets for this book, the ultimate copy of Giant Size X-Men 1, of which there are many. 9.4 is about a quarter the value of 9.8, $5,000. $4,809, here we go again, closes for $5,929. That's an increase. That's an almost 20% increase above fair market. I haven't seen this book go up, I don't think, in quite a while at any grade from fair market. And this one's about to close. $3,700 is the bidding with a $4,300 fair market. $4,200. Virtually identical to fair market. So from that, I'm going to infer, using this as my Big Mac index on the hobby, I'm going to say this is what's happening right now. We've seen a lot of different books close. We've seen books go high. We've seen books go low. But for Giant Size X-Men 1, we see people paying, in 2 of these cases, fair market, and in 1 of these cases, well above fair market. Boy, looking at this 9.4, it's off white to white, and I can see a lot of browning on the cover. Look at the scan close up. Those whites are not very white. And even when you compare it to this 9.2, this 9.2 is a little bit better in terms of cover page quality. And then I think this 9.8, this 9.8 is better than those other 2. Pull it out right now just for fun. Here's my Giant Size X-Men number 1. Just in terms of how white the white background is, I'd say this one is better than that 9.4. I'm gonna cut this video short here. This is the end of my 4th video in the series. Not sure where we are in the alphabet. Maybe we got to Incredible Hulk, Giant Size X-Men, Incredible Hulk, around about there. If you're interested in buying books, do check out my store in Shortboxed. Download the Shortboxed app or go to the website. The store is called Grails to Astonish. I got a ton of great raw, Amazing Spider-Man books, Ditko and Romita era, and these EC sci-fi books that I'm selling right now. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Green